If you know anything about Mischief Makers or you've seen us anywhere before, you'll know that we don't do much of this one-way sending. This is, of course, like a keynote presentation. We're happy to send, but we want to make it interactive and engaging. So we also want to invite you to participate in the chat as we just have been. So the first way we want you to do that is to say hello in whatever language you would like to. So maybe drop that in the chat now. You can even tell us what the language is. I'm not sure I'm going to know all of them. What is it in Polish? Let's.
Cześć.
Cześć.
Cześć. Almost.
You know, in English, it's hi.
Right.
That's all I can do. Okay. So we'll let those hellos come in. And hola, learning Spanish. Oh, I love that for you. Okay, so we are here today to talk about facilitating the future of work. And I'm going to dive in first to a little mini introduction to let you know who we are and what we're going to be talking to you about today. So my name's Emily Hinks, and I'm the co-founder of Mischief Makers, a facilitator and the CEO. I'm English, but live here in Holland, and I really love good, bad jokes. So puns, dad jokes, word jokes. You'll make me very happy with those as they come through. If you can share them as well in chat, feel free. I'll be making it as we go through. And I'm the vision element of Mischief Makers. I'm more of the dreamer in the team.
All right. So my name is Lette Hulscher. I'm the founder, co-founder, facilitator, and CEO of Mischief Makers. Half Polish, half Dutch. I always have a good story to tell. So
do.
If you're ever bored, please let me know. I have one right up my sleeve. And I'm more of that mission person behind this team. So the doer instead of that dreamer.
Thank you very much, Letty. And you might notice already, we're kind of shaking things up as we are known to do here at Mischief Makers by joining together to give this keynote talk. Usually it's one person up giving that speech, but we're all about human connection and collaboration, and that's what this talk is going to be about as well, not just with each other, and this is definitely how we run our business, but with our team and with our community. So we thought, instead of just talking the talk and saying how good it is to collaborate and bring that human connection to work, we thought we'd walk the walk and do this together today to show you that live in practice.
All right. So now that you know who we are, more about Mischief Makers, we are a company that facilitates organizational development. So we support other organizations with their cultural evolution. We also train people in capabilities of the future of work, as well as accelerating their gatherings. So every time they come together, make it impactful and smooth and mischievous.
I thought this was a different slide.
Mischief is quite an English word coming from M, but stands for play, creativity, flair, that je ne sais quoi, funny business, but really bringing that human touch into the world of work and that playfulness.
And this is the slide I thought it was going to, that we always use. We say, if we're a GIF, this would be us. So we're bringing in a little bit of this sparkle, this joy into the world of work because we think it needs it.
Yeah. And what type of clients do we work with? So, for example, this is one. People working at organizations and really seeing times around them changing, the world of work changing, and organizations have a hard time keeping up with that change. And so these are the people to really ring that alarm and call us in. So really think about, for example, hybrid work, working in a distributed workplace, even like team dynamics changing. How do we keep culture healthy, etc., etc. On the other hand, we also work with companies that are more like this. So future thinking companies, really embracing the change, seeing opportunities, and also ready to skill people up where they need to be in this ambiguous world of work. And this gives us an overview of these types of clients. So it's a bit of a mix, and that's also what we love about the work that we do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's a bit of an introduction to the work we do, who we work for, what we want to bring to the world of work. And now, if you're ready, we're going to dive into the crux and content of this session, which is, of course, talking about the future of work. And before we tell you what we think it is and what our framing of the future of work is, we want to invite you to share how you see the future of work. So maybe there are things that you're finding challenging about it or things that you're finding exciting, but this is our moment to capture that input. So you can use this QR code here. You can bring up your phone and scan that in, or you can go to menti.com and type in this code. I'll give you a minute to use that code or to use that QR code for a moment. And then we're going to move into the Mentimeter and hear from you about the shape of the future of work. And if you haven't had a chance to get that already from the slide, don't worry, you can see it here at the top of the screen as well, menti.com, and using this code. So we're waiting for your input to tell us, within the future of work, what do you find challenging about it? I'm going to give a moment for Menti to catch up. Should we maybe refresh? Yeah. Here we go. Volume, streamlined, engagement, ethics, and bias in AI. Yes, very true. Freedom giving, hybrid, people, I hope still. Maintaining well-being within that flexibility. Yeah, the more traditional approaches still there, increasing divide in skills. Yeah. Expectation management, ooh, such a good one. Aligning. Staying on the same page is definitely challenging as we're becoming more disparate. Distance, mindsets, ever evolving. It's hard to keep up with what's going to be there tomorrow. Okay, this is a great start and overview. This is almost getting me, it makes you think of one of those kaleidoscopes. I'm struggling to keep up. This is not a dyslexic person's friend. Schedules, it's messy. Okay, mental health is tough in the future of work. We're going to go now onto the flip of that and say, what do you think is exciting about the future of work? So what comes to mind when we say future of work and we talk about what's exciting about it? People management. It's exciting that it's messy. I guess it's exciting to start to tidy it up as well. Yeah. Change is exciting. There's more work-life balance, AI, and all that that's going to bring. Absolutely. Word clouds. Yes, this is exciting. Change, the unknown. Yeah. There are more opportunities, flexibility. Yeah. Innovation, we can be adaptable. We're more distributed. Respect for workers, yeah. New toys, love that one. Asynchrony, yeah, we don't always have to have a meeting in person. We can do things asynchronously. Oh wow, this dance of these words. It's going, your thoughts are going faster than I can. Okay, so great to get your input there around like what comes up for you when we're talking about the future of work. I'm going to take us back into the presentation now and talk a little bit about how we see it from Mischief Makers and the work that we're doing together with our clients and what we're doing out there in the world. So this is quite a rudimentary timeline talking about obviously pre and post pandemic, because before the pandemic hit, we were all work as we used to. There was quite a strong status quo, right, of going into the office. There was a 9 to 5. There was a pretty standardization like way of working. And then the pandemic forced us, of course, all into being suddenly remote and having no choice but to think about how we did all of those things, communicating, collaborating, brainstorming, team days online. And we slowly but surely got to grips with that. That's a lot of what we were busy with in that time, is helping clients transition their meetings, their processes, so that they keep that humanness alive in the online setting. We got to grips with it, and then people were really getting sick of it and saying, I just want to be back together with people. But when we were able to be back together with people in 2022 fully, we thought that there's going to be a big rise in hybrid, so a mix and a merge of the online offline sessions. But it was a bit more, okay, we're either coming back to the office or we're meeting online. Some companies were like, everybody come back. Others really made that switch to say, okay, we're a remote first company. And what we can see is we're now heading into 2024 is that it is settling, and it's absolutely certain that this mixed and distributed way of working is here to stay. It's no guarantee that you're going to be next to your team 5 days a week. There's a mix going to be happening. And we can see that in the stats as well. So we know that the majority of the workforce is actually still in office, but 98% of people, and this number is high across many studies, want at least some of their time to be remote. But we also know that remote is making it harder to feel connected to our coworkers. We're missing some of that social element and that spontaneity that was happening when we were all together in the office, those micro social moments. So overall, we're optimistic for the freedom and the flexibility that the new world of work is building. It's more inclusive. We can self-lead that work-life balance a little bit better, or maybe a little bit worse, it could be said. But there's a lot of those established ways of working that we used to be able to lean on, that were kind of autopilot for us. Now there's no one size fits all. There's no clear rules or structures around how best to communicate and collaborate as we're becoming more distributed, and certainly how to keep that human connection alive. And if we really dig down and look into the collaboration part, collaboration is indisputably a big, we're spending a lot of time collaborating with our colleagues. That's not going anywhere, people coming together to get work done. We know that this is crucial to the success of our role, our work, but many people believe that we're not doing that right in this world of work as it stands right now. It's not working well, that collaboration. Enter mischief. No, but really, this is what we work in, helping organizations collaborate, communicate, and connect better. But whether you're doing this with mischief makers, you're doing it yourself, or working with other organizations, it is irrefutable that we're in this moment right now in the world of work of great evolution. So it used to be that people would show up and they would work for their organizations. They followed the structures and systems that have always existed to get that work done. But now we're seeing a real flip, and it's turning into organizations having to work for their people. And by this, we mean it's imperative. Organizations have to develop processes, new ways of working, new structures that allow people to connect and communicate more effectively so that they can get their work done. The old rules aren't working, new ones are being made so that people can show up and bring their best self to work and do their best work.
All right. So
that's his favorite meme.
Yes, it is. That's a lot of information sent at you, and you might feel like this right now. So, okay, that's great information, but where do we actually start? It can feel quite complex. And we would say that actually it does start with you. You're already in this session. You're also joining the Miro distributed event. So we see this new rise or generation of professionals that are the new world of work architects. So as Emily already said, we are in a driver's seat to change ways of working, adapt them where needed, really thinking about what kind of culture do we want to create within our company or companies or teams or even departments. And I'm bringing this back as well because there are a couple of levers that you can pull. Culture evolution, really thinking about how do we design our meeting cadence? How do we make sure that we transform our meetings, making them truly engaging? Another part is around future of work capability building. So we really focus on facilitative leadership. How do you make sure that every voice is heard within the room? How do we make sure that we have inclusive collaboration, as well as high impact gatherings? So you're not going to be in the office constantly with one another anymore. So how do you make sure when you have a moment when you are together to make that truly impactful, create momentum, refuel that connection with your people? And this falls under organizational development, which feels a bit dry. But that's why we're here, and Mischief adds that extra spark and glamour to those sessions and those processes as well. So again, it's really important to focus on, okay, organizations that work for their people, and how do we make sure that we empower them in this new world of work? Over to you.
Yeah, well, as we said at the start, there are those future thinking companies that are really already working in this way. So they're not waiting to see whether teams sink and swim, or, okay, just figuring out how we're doing hybrid, or figuring out how many days we're coming in. Already we transfer in 2020. So really like a super early on, we were working with them on a project to transform their meeting culture. So this consisted of training across the whole organization and making a meeting guide to really look at how are we preparing and running our meetings so that it's time well spent, so that everybody's engaged. Another example of this is Spotify, one of our clients. So the first time that they were all coming back together after the pandemic, they've always had great fun social offsites, and they took this opportunity, the first ones when they came back, to make sure that those offsites played a new role in their company culture and how they're working. They used them as places where teams and regions could co-create new rituals and ways of working that would set them up for success beyond those touch point moments. So it stopped being how much money are we putting behind the bar, and it started being how much money are we investing in helping our people co-create how we work together. And it's more than just these vibes, right? We know that these organizations and others are great places to work. It's not just about being like, we're a fun, engaging, creative place to work. It actually has a way bigger payoff to think intentionally about how you're working together. And you can tell us about that.
Yeah. And I'm going to go through this quite quickly, but there's a clear return on investment on human connection. So we can see that when you invest within culture and ways of working, you really listen to your employees, you'll have more talent retention, people stay with your company for a longer time, they're invested. Also, your employee engagement will go up and satisfaction. And with that, there will be better quality of output and results, better business results. And don't just take our word for it. We can also see within these stats that, for example, when we have those weekly check-ins, there's a recognition program where companies do really invest time in their culture and ways of working, that people feel more psychologically safe. And when we talk about psychological safety, when people feel psychologically safe, they are more innovative. They're not afraid to fail. They're eager to open up, not afraid to share their ideas, right? So there's a big benefit in that sense as well. And you can also see where there is that recognition program that employees really feel inclusive, diverse. There's like this collaborative culture going on versus having a toxic culture. And you can already see from these two examples, which team do you think will be working and performing better? I reckon the left one. So this is what it comes down to in the end. When people connect and form relationships, they have better communication. When you communicate in a better way, your collaboration is improving and more smooth. When you have good collaboration, you also have better business results.
Yes.
So maybe you're thinking maybe this is you right now. There's something in this, or I'm sold. We think that basically how to get there is facilitation. And our company is fueled by facilitation, but we would love to hear from you in chat. What does facilitation mean to you? Can you define facilitation for us?
Yes, come into the chat. And I had a question here that I'm catching in the chat around small changes or pieces that you can do to improve that company culture. And that's exactly what we're about to get onto just now. Amy Edmondson's work, yes, for sure, around psychological safety. Communication is at the crux. How we achieve this remotely, instead of just having loads of meetings. Guiding the conversations, make processes easier, running meetings, facilitating connection, organizing the meetings. I love that so much is coming in here as well about organizing meetings, because it definitely is organizing and running meetings, but we see facilitation beyond that as well. That literally every time you come together within your organization, you bring teams together, that's an opportunity to facilitate, to fuel connection, collaboration, and refuel on that sense of connection with the culture. So this can be those meetings like daily stand-ups, team retros, but even when you're coming together async. We think that basically the time that you spend together at work, you've seen the stats, I'm sure, about like the amount wasted on inefficient meetings. The time you spend together at work, if it's not productive, can either become your biggest waste, or if you intentionally design and facilitate that, have people feel engaged and connected, it becomes your competitive advantage. So facilitation basically equals time well spent. So really thinking about how to fuel that sense of connection, collaboration, and culture refuel. This is a really niche reference, this image. This is the Blue Peter, and they were famous for saying, it's an English TV show, famous for saying, here's one we made earlier. And this is where we're going to be sharing some last quick tips about future of work rituals that you could start tomorrow to start bringing in some of this human connection and utilizing that skill of facilitation.
Yeah. So, for example, this template we made, you can find in the Miroverse. It's a handy onboarding tool. And basically what it shows is everyone that joins your team for the first time shows around their weaknesses, their strengths, what they want to be open about, anything that makes them small or they really value. So it's already entering a space where you can be yourself, human, and open up and see different types of ways of working. Another one is remote check-ins. So having a 15-minute stand up in the morning where people share any like helps or highlights, or generate a check-in question that can be various things from how are you feeling today to what do you need. This can also be done async. So on Slack, for example, where team members share where they're working from, what they're working on, how they're feeling, and anything that they need. So you get a picture of everyone within your team, no matter where they are based and what they need. And you can extend this to an even extensive team rhythm. So for example, at Mischief, every Friday we have either reflection, knowledge share, feedback, or freestyle. And we also support clients who come up with their own meeting cadence with meetings with the right intentions and why they're meeting. It's not one size fits all. It really starts with facilitating a session where you come down to your social contract or the behaviors you want to see within your team or department, and then really thinking about how do we make sure how these behaviors are brought to life. So these can be done within rituals, for example. Yeah.
And I'm going to intervene to ourselves and stop it here just to answer some of the questions that are coming in with the chat, because I know we've got the last 3 minutes. So we're going to share the socials in the chat about how you can connect and engage with us further. But I think we can pick up these ones that Hannah has shared in the chat. So any tips, tricks, or recommendations to change a small piece of a not so great company culture? Yes, I think actually what we've just shared in the rituals there, that secret sauce is making small quick wins. So you can take even half an hour if you can get it, where together with your team you make that social contract. So there are tips on how to do this in our Facilipedia page. So this is Wikipedia for facilitators, around making a set of agreements, behaviors that will help you collaborate and communicate better together. And from there you can come up with rituals and ideas to help you live and breathe those behaviors. And there's a cheat code. You can even put those behaviors into ChatGPT, and it can recommend rituals for you. But honestly, don't underestimate how small interventions can have a mighty results. Just like having a 15-minute check-in with your colleagues in the morning, it can transform so much more than you think. Yeah. This next one, what are the forms of facilitation needed now? I've noticed that even with Miro, team seems to be, what is a lot of our clients have actually started having an in-house facilitator, and we train our client teams in the art of facilitation. So whether it is a person that's solely focused on facilitation, or whether like team leads are trained in the skill of facilitation, it is quite important to have people that know how to not just use the tools like Miro, or maybe host a session where some people are online and some people are in the room, but really how to intervene, how to navigate conflict, how to notice when some people aren't being heard, and tricks and tips to get them involved. So I would say that at least some people within if your team's bigger than 5, at least one person needs to know how to facilitate. You can come on our leading groups course to learn that, but I think it's worth larger organizations having a facilitator. Many of our clients do. I've just got someone say that we're looking cool on the couch. I really appreciate that. This is this is the couch we bought when we first got the office, so this is a very important couch to us.